San Francisco city employees issued bulletproof vests to walk the streets. I thought I got a city job. Why does it look like I'm joining the armed military? It's San Francisco. It's what we're doing. All right. Here's your bulletproof vest. Here's your helmet. All right. Now I need you to learn how to drop, roll, and hide. Let's get into it. Here we go. This is a requirement for city workers in San Fran. Put on your bulletproof vest because bullets, they are a flying. Let's get into it. Here we go. San Francisco city employees tasked with enforcing the city's street vending rules have received so many death threats they have been issued bulletproof vests. I'm sorry. How much does this job pay? Seriously. How much? How much does this is a city job? And you're going to want me to put on a bulletproof vest. Bulletproof vest. No matter how much money I'm getting paid. If I got to take my life in my hands, unless I sign up for the military or something like that, police officer, even then they get paid decent money, right? Knowing that so much of what you're going to do in your job requires you to wear a bulletproof vest. Can you imagine being in that meeting? All right. So I know you guys have been hearing the scuttlebutt. I know that you've been hearing, and you see that, there's a desk with a bunch of bulletproof vests laid out. I know what you've been hearing, and I know what you're thinking, that we might be putting you in a scooch of harm's way by having you deal with the street vending rules. Now, if you don't know what the street vending rules are, that is the illegal sale of stolen goods on the streets. That's what it is. Some people want to say, it's just people making arts and crafts and selling stuff down there on the corner, right? No, it's illegal street vending. And that is why you need to have a bulletproof vest, because said street vendors, they are selling illegal goods and they tend to run around strapped. Let's just put it that way, right? I put a story up on my Instagram, just copied it from somebody else, reshared it. And it was a rap, hip hop, urban hip hop, whatever it was. It was a podcast and you got three dudes. It's some station or some LA artist. I wasn't familiar with them at all. And they were talking about Seattle. And if you saw the story that I reshared, they were sitting around in a podcast setting. There's three of them. They're talking about Seattle. They're talking about, I was up in Seattle and producers strapped, the engineers strapped. You go up there, you wave a gun around. You better be looking for business because everybody is armed in Seattle. And you know how we know that that's true? Because a lot of people are getting shot. Same thing in San Fran, right? You got some craziness going on. Public works inspectors who check food carts and whether street vendors have proper permits have been subjected to an increased number of threats and assaults, prompting the safety measure. All right, so we're back to that meeting with the flak jackets, with the bulletproof vests. All right, guys, we got a small, we got a medium and a large. I need you to indicate, maybe try one on and we're going to get you all set up and we'll work with you on the straps. We'll get this all squared away. And you're thinking, I thought I was Public Works. Oh, what's going on here? Public Works spokesperson Rachel Gordon told the publication her staffers have been pushed, bumped, had items thrown at them because people don't want to give up their street vendor position. They just don't. Like, F you guys. We've been doing this forever. And all of a sudden you're going to come down here with your little hats and your little vests and whatnot and tell us we can't. No, that's not how we do things here in the street. Get away from us. And they crank off a couple of rounds. And then some bureaucrat says, good Lord, that's dangerous. Get those guys some vests. That's exactly what you've got going on. The verbal attacks remain frequent, Gordon said. She added some of the inspectors had been punched in the stomach and their lives threatened. Nothing like a good blow to the stomach during your workday, right? Whatever you do, whatever I do, I'm not getting punched in the gut. These people are. That's when you know things are wildly out of control. handing them a bulletproof vest. I say, don't take the job. Let somebody else work with that. And you know what? Elect some officials who are going to take care of street crime, right? That's the battle that they're in right now. You've got Mayor London Breed trying to drop the hammer on a lot of this stuff. It's going to take a long time. You can't have just one mayor come in and start to clean things up. Because we're not in the era of Rudy Giuliani anymore, right? The stuff that he did, he just, here's what we're doing. And he got it done, right? Clean New York City up. Crazy, right? We don't have the political will of the people, especially in San Francisco, to make that happen. They're more like, just let people do their thing. And if you got to throw on a bulletproof vest, well, then, we just want to be as inclusive as possible. And people with guns, they got to sell stuff on the street as well, too. The verbal attacks remain frequent, Gordon said. The city has cracked down on street vendors after the fencing of stolen goods became more commonplace in busy downtown areas like UN Plaza and the area around Mission and Market Streets, also known as areas where drug deals take place. That's what this is all about, isn't it? It's a drug culture. It's the drug culture that you have allowed to proliferate by way of tents, by way of homelessness, by way of just willy-nilly people doing whatever they want by not prosecuting people, weak prosecutors, weak district attorneys, that whole shebang, defunding the police, shy 600 cops like San Francisco is. And then, you just let everything go. And then people sit back and go, what happened to law and order in our fine city? And you're like, you let it just go away. Now the public service people got to wear bulletproof vests. Here, put this on. God, that's heavy. I got to wear this all day, every day. Yes, you do. You can take it off, but if you get shot, hope you got a Bible in that pocket to protect your heart. You know what I mean? Not going to happen. City officials are cracking down on street vending after Supervisor Hillary Ronan announced on Tuesday a complete ban will begin next month on Mission Street. What's that going to look like? Because we've got bans going in place all over, right? All right. Homeless encampment ban here. Even got one from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., something like that in Portland. You got bans all over. What does that really do? Big goose egg. Basically nothing. Because you don't have enough city officials with bulletproof vests running around to make this happen. You just don't. You're playing catch up all the time. You're playing whack-a-mole the whole time. Need to throw some of these people in jail, not give the city inspectors bulletproof vests. Meanwhile, sources told the Post that some of the street vendors and fencers are smash and grabbers who steal everything from medication to toiletries, soaps and shampoos at stores like Walgreens and turn around to sell them for a quick buck on Market Street and other areas where homelessness is rampant. Sources say, really? I'll be darned. Is that true? Is that true? So the word is now just getting out. It's trickling through mainstream media. All those tents, they might not be people just down on their luck for just a scooch. Those are people that want to live there. They're living the lifestyle. They like the lifestyle. They got all the drugs they need. They got the ability to buy and sell stolen goods. They've got fences. They've got you name it. And now, just now, meanwhile, sources told the Post, here is the real scoop. This is what's going on. We've got smash and grabbers. It's like, what do people think when they see all the footage of the kids running in and out of 7-Eleven, 50, 60 of them at a time, and just basically stripping the store of all of its wares? Where do they think that stuff goes? Do the kids just eat all the snacks? All the stuff that is shoplifted from your Targets, which are closing. Where do you think that goes? Do you think people are really using that much toothpaste? That much deodorant? That much? Are they really washing all those clothes? These are commodities. They're being sold on the black market that is wide open. And so, people that have these markets, they don't want to give them up. And yes, they have guns and they will shoot your ass. So how hard is this to work out, folks? Apparently pretty hard. Here's your bulletproof vest. Good luck out there. San Francisco Police Chief Bill Scott acknowledged the city's growing fencing and permitting issues and attacks on inspectors. When your city inspectors are getting threatened with gun violence, that's when you know you've got an out of control city, period. Everything's fine here. It's fine. It's like the jack-offs in Seattle. I haven't seen any crime. I haven't seen any criminal element whatsoever. And everybody's just, what? What planet have you been on? People just want to live in their own fantasy land that everything's good. Everything's fine. Is it everywhere? Well, no, but we're talking about Market Street, Mission Street. We're talking about those areas. We're talking about the Tenderloin, right? Talking about the Tenderloin. Those are dangerous areas. You got a ton of drugs going on. You got a ton of prostitution going on. You got a ton of stolen goods being sold back and forth to support the drug habits, period. And yet, meantime, we've got, they steal everything from medication to toiletries and they resell it. Huh. Weird. They have been subjected to attacks, verbal and physical assaults, Scott told ABC7 KGO. So it really makes it difficult to do their jobs. I would say being shot at is another thing that would make it difficult to do your job. I would say that is not really a job that I would want to entail. I remember early on in my career, we were going through meth. Meth was like this big unknown quantity. Meth labs were being set up. This was in the late 80s. And down south, Pierce County was invariably on cops. You remember, bad boys, what you gonna do? Pierce County ruled. Tacoma ruled cops because he had so many examples of just criminal behavior gone sideways. Well, and a lot of that had to do with meth labs. So being a real estate appraiser, we would get jobs from these companies. They're like, we're going to need you to wear a hazmat suit as you go through what we believe to be a meth lab that exploded. So we're going to need you to find out the damage and the impact it has on marketability and value. So when we take this property back, we can ascertain how much our, devaluation has happened or whatever it was that they're asking us from. And I was always like, a hazmat suit? Don't care what you're paying me. No, not interested. No go. Not doing that. Hazmat suit. No, I'm not going into a known chemical environment where it's going to harm me. No, I'm not going to put a bulletproof vest on. All right. Unless you give me a gun and put a badge on me and I can play cowboy out there. Yeah, I'll do that for a little while. Yeah, probably wouldn't even do that, right? San Francisco Police Department was awarded $15.3 million in state grants in September and promised to run a series of blitz operations to curb retail theft. But fencing and black market continues to be a problem. That is the state grant money that City of Oakland just couldn't get their act together. And they're the one city that absolutely needs it in California, right? They couldn't get their grant in on time. Just abject failure. Failure at the most basic of levels. However, some community members have taken issue with the city inspectors after an incident earlier this month when a public works employee was caught on video pushing a streetcar's vendor cart to the ground at the busy tourist area of Fisherman's Wharf. Okay, so the guy pushed a cart over. Bunch of snowflakes out there. I hurt my feelings. I pushed my cart over. You're going to have some of that as this back and forth goes on. I'm not saying pushing over a poor guy's street vendor cart is the right explanation for anything. But you know what? Some stuff is going to happen. And guess what? We can't just get all worked up about it. Overall, what does the street vendor look like? Well, some of them aren't legal. They're just not. People are operating outside of the boundaries of the law. Like that paragraph we just read, where shockingly, they're taking stuff and they're selling it on the black market. And some say they're buying drugs. Good Lord. Any kind of issue like this just goes wacky in San Francisco, right? The man pushed him down and it was just horrible and terrible. It's like, get over it, folks. Violence happens on a daily basis. Sometimes you're going to take the punch. You know what I mean? It's like, all right, if it happens to me, I'm going to be pissed, right? But, hey, In the short video clip, an inspector wearing a bright yellow vest chased down hot dog vendor Juan Carlos Ramirez. The unidentified city worker grabbed Ramirez's cart and pushed it to the ground, sending hot dogs, onions, bell peppers, and buns flying all over the street. Okay. All right. I mean, yeah. Whew, wow. I mean, I think we stop society and we work on getting those buns and stuff back in, right? Jeez. I was embarrassed, Ramirez told a local. It was humiliating. Yeah, that sucks. That sucks. But you got people being shot at. You know what I mean? Some street vendors say if their cart is confiscated by public works inspectors for not having permits, they have to pay a $300 fine, which many of them can't afford, raising questions about whom they are actually working for and who gets the profits. Well, that's what they're trying to crack down on, folks, is the illegal street vendors. You might have a hot dog thing, a hot dog cart, but those are pretty easy to buy, and it doesn't mean you're legal. Trying to crack down on some of this, right? And people get frustrated. Does that mean it's okay to throw your hot dog cart to the ground? Absolutely not. But don't also pretend that this doesn't go on every single day as a back and forth, right? Meanwhile, Ronan and her staff said the continued threats to inspectors is the straw that broke the camel's back. What we have seen over the last year and a half is Mission Street really being flooded with large-scale fencing organizations, and we're not talking with a sword. Right? I mean, this is just kind of coming to the surface of public awareness because people are looking around going, oh, yeah, that whole open air drug market, all the stolen goods, all the fencing of said stolen goods. Oh, yeah, we need to close that down as well because, yeah, they're selling some stuff that they're stealing from the community. And it's creating this situation where there's readily available funds for drugs. Huh. All interrelated. Meanwhile, all right, here's your bulletproof vest. Our public works inspectors are now wearing bulletproof vests while they are walking the streets and they are escorted by police. Don't go after the bad guys. Give your public workers bulletproof vests and do a police escort in a city where you can't afford to give them a police escort. But that's what we're doing anyway. Yeah. It's wild, right? It's wild that this is what things have come to. But you know what? You know who I blame? People in San Francisco. This is what you voted. This is what you wanted. You wanted this socialist utopia. How is that working out? Where you can't have just your basic street inspector, your city inspector go down a street without being basically protected from the random gunshot that somebody might throw your way because you're telling them, hey, yeah, that's a no-go on the public street. You are not permitted. And somebody just cranks off a couple of rounds. So they've had that happen. Otherwise, you wouldn't be handing out. These bulletproof vests are not cheap. Even the cheap ones are not cheap, right? That's an expense. Meanwhile, city's got a $750 million budget deficit, but they're handing out bulletproof vests because their inspectors need them along with police escort. This is that socialist utopia that San Francisco just wanted. All right. Summer of love back in 69. Let's keep it going. Here's what you got. How's that working out? I don't see bulletproof vests being handed out to other citizens doing the same job in other communities. This is a one-off. That's why we're covering out of news for reasonable people, right? Because it's just news that shouldn't be out there. It shouldn't be a thing. It should be a no-go. People shouldn't be shooting at the city inspectors, but things are just so lawless. And I keep hearing the comment of the wild, wild west. And I keep saying back via comments, I think we're way beyond the lawlessness of the Wild West. We're way beyond that. We're way beyond that. The incidents of people just running around shooting each other willy-nilly over nothing are astounding, especially when you're talking about a public works. So this is somebody coming and saying, hey, you got an illegal deal going on here. Yeah, don't really care. Right? We need to protect our employees against that. Crazy times. But this is what San Francisco wanted. And now San Francisco's like, oh, what do we do? Give them a vest. It'll be fine. Yeah, we'll see how that works out. All right. Thanks so much for being here. I'll catch up with you on the next one. Bye for now.